Good evening and welcome. This is a public hearing of the Zoning Board of Appeals of the City of Evanston. The zoning ordinance directs this body to hear applications for major variations, special uses, and appeals from decisions of the zoning administrator. Depending on the type of matter, this board will either make a final determination or send its recommendation to City Council. Scott, will you please call the roll tonight?
Yes. Board Member McCauley,
Present.
Board Member Deacon,
Here.
Board Member Chair Burns,
Here.
Vice Chair Coletta,
Present.
and not present Board Member Gingold, Miranchev, and Revola.
All right, with 4 people, we do have a quorum. It's very lean, but we do have a quorum. Also present tonight is Planning and Zoning Administrator Scott Mangum. This is a formal meeting, and there are rules that govern our proceedings. Most importantly, only one person speaks at a time so that all testimony may be accurately recorded. Anyone who wishes to address the board regarding any matter on the agenda will have the opportunity to do so at the appropriate time. Our procedure is to hear from staff on the documents on file and then receive testimony and other evidence from the applicant or appellant. Next, persons who wish to make a statement regarding the matter may do so at that time. Any person with a legal interest in property located within 500 feet of the subject property may present evidence, reasonably question witnesses, or seek a continuance of the hearing. When all supporting and opposing testimony and statements have been heard, the applicant or appellant will be given the opportunity for rebuttal or a closing statement. Then the board will close the record and begin deliberations. All testimony will be under oath, and although we do not apply the strict rules of evidence, please limit your testimony or statement to your personal knowledge. When you address the board, please state your name and address and sign in on the provided sheet. Our meetings are audio and video recorded. Please make sure that you are at a microphone when asking questions or making statements so that you can be properly recorded. All proceedings are subject to broadcast at a later date. Any matter not concluded at tonight's hearing will be continued to our next regularly scheduled meeting. There is one item on our agenda this evening, and Mr. Kazura, you're here. So fantastic. So the first item on the agenda is our meeting minutes from last week. And did everyone get a chance to read them?
We did. Yes.
Okay, I have one clarification. on the Crown Center, my objection about the parking was not that you would go across the corners of parking, but that the turning radius to get into a parking spot is not adequate, such that you would end up taking up 2 spots versus being only in 1 spot. And when that happened, that would reduce the overall effective number of parking spots. So I just wanted to make that clear.
So with those changes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of February 20th, 2018.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And the motion passes. Also, so we are now moving on to the next case. And before we do that, anybody who's here to testify, can you raise your right hand? That's you. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth throughout the course of these proceedings? I do. Thank you. And Scott, will you read the case into the record, please?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, members of the public. The request this evening is for a special use permit for a Type 2 restaurant, Frio Gelato, within the B1 Business District and the ODM Dempster Main Overlay District. This is a case where the zoning board has the ability to make a recommendation on the city council. City council is the determining body in this case. Both city staff and DAPR have reviewed the recommendation and recommend approval. Additional information is contained within the staff report, including conditions of approval and responses to those and attachments with that. Staff's available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kazura, if you'd like to come up and tell us a little bit about your project, please.
Hi, I'm Sebastian Gozio. I'm the owner of Frio Gelato LLC. We moved from 517 Dempster to 1301 Chicago Avenue. We reopened the door there January 19th. We were thinking to do just takeout, but we were having people asking for chairs, so we would like to have chairs and 4 tables for people to stay, especially in the winter, to stay in there and then enjoy a gelato. So basically, we are already open, we are already selling to the public, but the only thing we are asking is this, is about this 4 tables and 8 seats.
You currently have tables in the space, though, right?
Yes,
So you know that's in violation, right?
yes,
Okay. And so you've been in violation since January.
yes.
And how many seats do you currently have in the space?
8.
So I happened to go by last night. There are 16.
Uh,
Because all the stools around the tables at the wall
okay,
count as chairs.
okay, so I can remove them.
So that's actually 16, because that's a big concern of mine, right? Is that we don't have, the requirement for the number of chairs is based on Illinois plumbing code. It's not based on zoning, it's not based on anything in Evanston. It is based on Illinois plumbing code.
Okay,
And there's nothing we can do about that, right? You know that. We can't change Illinois plumbing code. You gotta play by their rules. So that's my concern. So your plan is to remove those stools that are around those tables that are on the south side?
yes.
Is that the plan?
I mean, I didn't know that those we're considering like seating and a
And it-
restaurant. It's
Yeah.
more like, people come and then they have a gelato and then they have like 3 kids and the kids sit in there.
Right,
I can remove them if that's what I have to do.
okay. Did you ever consider putting in another bathroom?
There's no room for that. There's no room for that. I will put a bathroom with no problem. I own a construction company also, so
Right.
it wouldn't be a big deal to do it, but there is no room for that.
And does the seating restriction pertain to outside seating as well, or does the Illinois plumbing restriction apply to outside seating as well? So could he expand seating in the summer and warm weather months?
Go
As
ahead.
far as I'm aware, it just applies to the interior seating. for the building,
And based on the sidewalk width there, I know that his neighbor has sidewalk seating. What would be allowed in terms of seating outside there?
We'd have to take a look at a plan, see the proposed dimensions for the tables and seats there, and see what the sidewalk clear width remaining would be, and any obstructions, street furniture, and others that would be evaluated there.
Okay, and do you have plans, if permitted, to install outside seating? What's your vision for the outside there?
No, the outside, first of all, the corner gets pretty busy with people walking by, and the sidewalks are not very wide on that on that side of the street, so it won't be very uncomfortable for people to sit in there. At night it could be a little bit more, but in the afternoon it's so hot in there in the summer. I don't think nobody will be sitting outside. Maybe in the old store I had a bench on the outside, so maybe I can put a bench again. But I wasn't planning on putting outside seating. No.
Scott, I have a question. Would the bench qualify as seating?
An exterior, I don't believe it would count towards that limit there. On the interior, it would count towards seating.
Okay, and if he put the seating on the outside, as Lisa suggested, would that require another bathroom?
I don't believe so. We could check with the plumbing code, but I believe it only pertains to the interior seating.
Okay.
And that is true even though the restaurant is, or the use there is not a full-service restaurant where people are spending an inordinate amount of time, but they are sort of enjoying their gelato and coming and going?
That's correct. I don't believe the plumbing code distinguishes between the two.
And my last question would be, if it wasn't tables with chairs, could it be more seating? No. If it was like just around the perimeter, like what's on the south wall with the counter and
If
stools.
I don't have a
Still
table,
seats. It's
Still
seats.
seats.
It's not tables, it's seats.
It's seats, okay.
Right, and,
Well-
and it is a combination of seating plus employees there.
Okay.
So if there's at least 1 or 2 employees, then that would limit the seating to 8 or 9.
How many employees do you have, sir?
2.
2, okay.
The plan is for 2 per shift, right? At least
It's
one.
so
Might be-
unpredictable
I know.
with the gelato that right now we have 1
Yeah.
during the week and then 2 on weekends.
Right.
Sometimes we have 2, and then, it's not enough. Sometimes we have 1, and it's like more than enough. So it's very hard to predict how many employees we're going to have. The plan for right now is 2 people per shift.
Okay.
Okay.
We should probably go through some of the other standards, which is where, so you don't have parking for employees, right?
No, I don't.
There's no parking.
So- we pay parking behind our building. There is a parking lot.
Yeah.
So we pay parking for my car and for the delivery truck. So
Okay,
we have
so
2 spots
You have 2 monthly spots?
Yes.
Out there?
that we rented for Blue Star, which is the manager for that parking lot.
For that lot?
Dapper
Okay.
had also asked that you adopt the sustainability codes that are suggested. Apparently, that had not yet quite been done.
I'm sorry about what?
I saw in the Dapper notes that they had made a contingency on their approval that you adopt sustainability.
Which is specifically that you follow the litter collection plan, which is anything within 500 feet of your shop, you're responsible for picking up off the ground at regular intervals. So like every 2 hours, you have to go out and clean that up.
Well, we do.
You
we
can
do.
also offer recycling, business recycling. You can offer tap water in lieu of bottled water, reusable
We have
flatware.
we have a water fountain. We have bottled water.
Okay,
All the materials that we use are recyclable.
okay,
We have a service with the GROOT, the garbage company or
Right.
the waste company, and then we do have a normal waste and recyclable waste.
okay.
Both.
So I think as part of our packet, we have the sustainability practices signed by you. So you're agreeing to
Oh, yeah, yeah.
fulfill all those
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
requirements.
yeah. We've been doing that
Okay.
anyway.
Okay. So back to your employees. So the employees, those 2 spots in the back are not for employee parking, is that correct?
They can be.
They can
They
be.
can use it.
Okay. Are your employees
My
local?
employees are mostly college people who don't have a car anyway.
Okay.
So, and then we have 2. We are paying for 2
Right.
parking spaces.
Okay. So if one of the requirements of the special use is that those employees can't use street parking, that's acceptable to you because that's not a problem. Okay. Can we talk about a little bit about when you get your deliveries, how often you get to your deliveries, what size truck they take in, and where that delivery happens, please?
The delivery happens in the morning before we open,
Okay.
around 10 in the morning.
Yep.
The truck that we use is a small Ford Transit, so it's like a compact car, pretty much.
Right. It's a little minivan.
It's even smaller than a minivan, and we deliver once a day.
Okay.
So once a day, every single day, from our production kitchen on Simpson Street.
Right.
Once a day in the morning with the Ford Transit truck.
Okay. So all deliveries are coming through the back of the building.
Correct.
Okay.
We have
And
a-
is that where you're bringing in napkins and all the other supplies and toilet paper and all that other
Same
good stuff
truck.
too? Because you're buying those things at some local Costco or Gordon's or something like
We
that?
have a company that
Okay.
delivers all those products to Simpson,
Okay.
and then from Simpson we
Okay.
take it to Dempster.
So you take the bulk deliveries at your Simpson location?
Correct.
Offload into the smaller truck? and
Correct. We
then-
have other locations also for the gelato business, so we deliver also to the other locations from Simpson.
Okay. Excellent. Are you planning on making any changes to the outside of the building?
No.
Okay.
We already installed the awnings, and we already have a sign that we replaced from the previous company.
Right. And your hours of operation you're looking for are?
10 right now. We are opening Monday. It's seasonal, so in the winter we're going to do noon to 9 Monday through Thursday, and then noon to 10 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. In the summer we're going to do noon to 10 every day, and then we'll see with the new location we might do up to 10:30.
Okay.
In the summer.
Do you know when the surrounding, like Blind Faith, when does Blind Faith close?
9 p.m.
Okay.
Most of the people there, they close at 9 p.m., except for Union Square,
Yeah.
that they close a little bit later, like 10:30, 11.
Okay. Scott, do you know the time that Starbucks closes across the street?
Before 9.
They close before 9? Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah. I believe it's 8:30.
Okay.
What time does Starbucks is open later than that, isn't it?
That's what we were just saying. He says 9. They close before 9.
They close at 9.
And Zoka, Doska across the
I
street?
don't know.
Yeah.
But mostly everything closes at 9 p.m. over there, around there.
And then they come to your place for dessert.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly right. We want everybody to go to your place for dessert. Okay, so we talked about garbage and all that other good stuff. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions?
No, I think that this business has been in operation a few doors away, and now at this location for how long? 3 months?
2 years.
No, at the
At this
current-
location,
yeah.
since January 19th.
Since January 19th.
Right,
So
2 months.
I think that you're pretty well oiled in terms of your business at that location. It is a question of the seating and the plumbing requirements based on the amount of seating that you have, and simply how that alters the definition of your business. So hopefully you can remain within the seating restrictions required by code, and let people stand while they eat their ice cream.
They do. I mean,
That's my suggestion for those tables over there, is if you just take away the stools and let them be standing, it at least gives them a place to rest and they, eat their ice cream, but then without breaking the rules.
Maybe I used to have a bar
Yeah.
with high stools
Yeah.
that I took out because of the seating requirements.
Right.
So maybe I
The
took.
bar is fine. It's just the stools. As long as the stools never make it back in. As
so
long as
maybe I
when,
can put more bars, and then people can
that's right.
and put because the issue is for families, like the parents. Sometimes
Yes.
they have to put down their gelato to help the kids.
Yes, yes.
So that's mainly the reason
The
why.
reason for it.
For
Okay.
the table, and then in the winter, it's just for a few people to come to the store and then be able to stay and be comfortable eating the gelato.
Right.
When it's like
Right.
snowing outside.
It's
Well, you
hard
have-
to eat gelato when it's snowing.
Well, you have hot
I don't
chocolate.
think so.
Don't you have hot chocolate also?
What's that?
Don't you have some hot beverages?
Yes. We have a little bit of coffee and
Because
we
I've
have,
stopped there on my way back from the lake and sat
yeah.
comfortably and had a hot beverage.
Yeah.
So,
We are not a coffee shop, but
Right.
we have a little bit of coffee program.
Okay. So I think that would probably be to your benefit then. As long as those stools don't show up, the bar is not in question. It's
Okay.
it's the stools.
Okay.
Because again, it gets back to the plumbing code. So, all right. I asked if anybody else had questions. Nobody else has
No.
anything? Is there anybody here to comment on this case? No. Is there anything you'd like to say further?
No,
Great. Thank you very much for coming in. I appreciate it.
thank you.
With that, we are going to close the record. You can have a seat.
I can take off, right?
You can leave if you want. We're just going to talk about it for about 5 minutes. It's up to you. It's totally up to you. All right. Thoughts?
I like this business. I like the fact that their production kitchen is over on Simpson. It's an underused part. I've had the gelato. It's delicious, and I think this is a good plan.
I agree with those comments. That corner location was empty for a long time, and I know that the city was working to encourage a business to come in there, and I think it's an important corner to have anchored, and, we're not too far away, and we were delighted to see that you were moving just a couple doors down. So great use. I think it's a great model that you have your production facility in Evanston, so bravo. I think businesses like yours make our commercial corridors interesting and vibrant. All of that said, I want to understand, and I think I know the answer to this, but if there's anything that we as a sort of a city body can do to further address this issue of seating, because as popular as I hope that your business will be, and it was at the other location, 8 seats are not enough seats in that location. And whether it's the city looking at whether outside seating can be made available, I think it's a great location. And I think outside seating potentially, if designed well, could further add to the sense of place that is established there in that corridor. So Scott, I guess the question is to you whether there is anything that we as a city body or you as staff can do to sort of further examine whether even outside seating would be permitted, and if there's anything that we can do to encourage that, because I'm concerned that that's not enough seating, and I say that both wearing my hat on the zoning board, but also wearing my hat as a visitor to your location as a consumer. Yes.
Unfortunately, we've closed the record. Yeah. So unless my colleagues want to vote to open the record, that's the only way we can hear from
I don't think that we need to open the record. This is a matter of building codes, and so I don't know that the city has purview over building codes, which are established at the state level, aren't they, Mary Beth?
Well, the plumbing code is. Everything
Right,
else
right.
gets adopted by the city.
Right.
You are not allowed to make changes to the Illinois State Plumbing Code.
Right.
Except it sounds like there might be some latitude in regards to outside seating if the owner did choose to pursue that. That's a question for Scott. Is there any flexibility from the city's perspective in considering outside seating?
The city does allow for outdoor cafes, sidewalk cafes. So it's something we could look at. It is on a kind of case-by-case basis, depending on the dimensions and making sure to meet ADA standards. So we'd have to take a look at what the sidewalk dimensions are out there, but it's certainly something we
That's
could
not a great
evaluate.
I think
corner
that-
for outdoor seating.
Can I say something off the record?
Oh, unfortunately not.
That is a very busy corner, and the store, of course, comes right up to the corner, so that might not be the very best. Little benches, as he has at his other store, might be a possibility, but, depending on dimensions. But I don't think that's an issue for if he decides to go for it. And in the meantime, I just hope that there are a lot of people leaning against the windows. Which I
Right.
suspect
And-
there will be.
And all of the exterior work is really just a separate permit. So all of that sidewalk seating is a separate permit, no permit application and all that sort of stuff. So if he wants to go through with that, that's where they're going to tell him what he's allowed to do and what he can and can't do. So I think if he's interested in pursuing that route, totally up to you. Make a little parklet out front. Who knows? I mean, nobody's going to give up parking there.
I have a question.
That's
Does the
crazy.
fire code prohibit him from having people standing around? Like, how many could he have in that space?
So, yeah, there is an occupancy limit. I
Yeah.
don't know what the occupancy limit is for that space. You can have people standing. It's
Yeah.
really about the sitting.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's going to be a concern, actually.
Right. So it's really just the sitting.
So just the standards.
So we've heard from everybody. I agree with everybody's assessment. I was so excited when you moved into the corner. It's a great location. That corner has been brown covered windows for way too long, and it's a great spot, and it's a great neighborhood location. Again, I'm really just concerned about the seating and that we stick to 8 seats because that's all you're allowed is 8 seats, and that go back to the bars, take the stools away, give people a place to put their glass and all that good stuff, and then we'll be in good shape. So with that, we're going to go through the standards. There are going to be some conditions on this one, so let's go through this. Okay, number 1, it is one of the special uses specifically listed in the zoning ordinance. A type 1 restaurant certainly is, and there are others in the neighborhood, so this standard has been met. Number 2, it is in keeping with purposes and policies of the adopted comprehensive general plan and the zoning ordinance as amended from time to time. One of the purposes of the comprehensive general plan is to retain and enhance a diversity of businesses in the areas, and this certainly is a diverse business for this area. We're also retaining an Evanston business, which is made in Evanston, and the owners are in Evanston, and it's all good. So I think that certainly meets that standard. Number 3, it will not cause a negative cumulative effect when its effect is considered in conjunction with the cumulative effect of various special uses of all types in the immediate neighborhood and the effect of the proposed type of special use upon a city as a whole. That certain intersection, right, Dempster and Chicago, is a very busy intersection that has a vibrancy to it. And having a business that attracts people with delicious food is a great way to bring people to other businesses. And I do believe that draw will help some of the other businesses in the neighborhood too. So I do believe that standard has been met. Number 4, it does not interfere with or diminish the value of property in the neighborhood. That is definitely not the case. Getting rid of a vacant storefront certainly improves the value of the property in the surrounding area, so that standard has been met. Number 5, it can be adequately served by public facilities and services. This was an existing building that is served by streets and the L and public parking and all that good stuff. So I do believe that that standard has been met. Number 6, it does not cause undue traffic congestion. My sense of it is that the bulk of your customers are within walking distance, and your radius is actually quite large. You have a lot of walking traffic from the east as well as the west. So I think that the bulk of your traffic is going to be that way, and anybody else who wants to go there is subject to the same parking that would be for any other location in the neighborhood. So I believe that that standard has been met. Number 7, it preserves significant historical and architectural resources. This is actually one of the buildings where we get to apply it. It's actually a nice looking building, and having that be occupied and activated is a nice thing. So I believe that that standard has been met. Number 8, it preserves significant natural and environmental features, which is not applicable. And 9, it complies with all other applicable regulations of the district in which it is located and other applicable ordinances, except to the extent that such regulations have been modified through the plan development process or the grant of a variation. As long as the space is compliant with the Illinois State Plumbing Code and we are limited to 8 seats, then this complies fully, and I do believe that that standard has been met. Again, as long as there are 8 seats in the space as a maximum. So with that, I need a motion to recommend to City Council with all the good recommendations. Thank you, conditions.
Okay, in the matter of 18 ZMJV 0006, 1301 Chicago Avenue, I move that we send a positive recommendation to City Council with the following conditions: that the seating be limited to 8 chairs, that the 2 employees not park on the street, that the hours are from 12 to 10, and that
No, we were going to go a little bit later. He was thinking maybe 10:30 on the weekends.
so 12
So
to
why don't we
11.
just go noon to 11.
Noon to 11, and that this business keeps in accordance with the sustainability plan for the city of Evanston. Anything else?
In substantial compliance with the testimony and documents on file.
In substantial compliance with the testimony and documents on file.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And with that, you go to City Council with a recommendation for approval. Get rid of those chairs, please. Yes, but make sure you only have 8 chairs.
I do have 8 chairs.
Okay. Get rid of the stools. Thank you.
I think you should promote a bring your own chair.
Oh, no. Fire code.
Yeah, let's not
Fire
do that. Let's not do that.
So we are off
Thank
the
you.
record now? We finished?
Not
Not
yet.
finished yet.
Give me a minute.
Right, 1 second.
Move.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are now adjourned.